Hello students. So today we'll continue with the third part of Kingdom Animalia. In the previous lecture, that is part 2, we did with the initial phylum, and now we start with the later part of the invertebrates. That is, as you can see in the first page, the content: phylum Annelida, phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca, phylum Echinodermata, and phylum Hemichordata. So today we'll learn these 5 parts in the lecture 3 or part 3. Okay, and one more thing, you can see image on the screen, right? It is a angel species, right? But there is a similar type of species which comes under phylum Hemichordata. So towards the later part we'll observe this particular species, in which phylum it comes, which class it comes, etc. Okay. Now we come to the next slide. Now here again, like the previous slide, I had put some interesting species with relation to what we are going to learn today. Now you can see 5 images, right? Now some you might have seen, but as I told, always I put something unusual related with the topic, not the usual one. Okay, so the one you can see, earthworm. Now earthworm all of you might have seen, but why this is again an unusual one? Because this earthworm is found in Amazon forest. Also, the size, or we can say length, is almost 4 feet. It is 4 feet. Usually the earthworm which you find near our place during rainy season will be hardly around 10 to 15 centimeter in length. So here this earthworm is almost 4 feet in length, which is found in the Amazon forest, right? Isn't it amazing, right? So it comes under phylum Annelida. Next you can see one below, that is peacock spider. Now all of you might have seen spider, right? Now this comes under phylum Arthropoda. The term arthro means foot, joint, foot or joint appendages. The arthro, joint, poda means foot, so joint appendages. Now again, unique, if you see, you are seeing the spiders. So this you can say a dancing spider or a peacock spider because of the appearance, colorful appearance at their back. Okay, then next, near to the peacock spider, you got sea urchin, which looks like something similar to porcupine species, like with the spines on its back. So it's actually sea urchin coming under phylum Mollusca. As you know, mollusca means soft-bodied animal. Clear? Then next you can see a worm-like species, but again not the usual one. It is called as acorn worm, which comes under phylum Hemichordata. Okay, then the one above that is the octopus, but again if you see octopus, all of you might have seen, but here it's an octopus which is camouflaging. Now the color which is dark, but when it comes and rests on the rock where there is lot of green coverage, that octopus also takes the coloration and camouflaging itself accordingly. Okay. Now come to the next slide. Now again, like previous lecture or previous part, here also I put image where you can see vertebrate, invertebrate, and few species related to the individual ones. Again, this is for your understanding, to make your learning little bit more easier. Now most of the species you might have seen. So just to have a quick revision: classification of animals, two types: vertebrates, invertebrates. Vertebrates, you got warm-blooded, cold-blooded, that is mammals and birds coming under warm-blooded, including us, whereas cold-blooded fish, reptiles, and amphibians. And if you go straight the column wise, you can see the species under mammals, you can see species under birds, under fish, reptiles, and amphibian. Similarly, in invertebrates, as such, we are learning 10 different phyla, but here there are 6 of them. Now again, in that first one, insects, then arachnids, and the uh, fifth one, crustaceans. All three comes under arthropoda, but again arthropoda, they have got different class. Now other than this, you got third one, which is mollusca, the soft bodied animals, and then I've got Annelida, that is earthworm, leech, Nereis, and then lastly Echinodermata or echinoderms, that is starfish, sea urchin, etc. Clear? So that I have put this image so that there are quite a few species in it which will help us to learn the examples as well as the particular phylum. So now moving to the fourth slide. Now this particular slide you are very familiar, as I told in the previous lecture also. So I have put this particular slide in even the next part. The reason, in one chart or one slide you can learn the entire chapter. So it's like a revision for you also, which will help you to learn all the phylum at a glance. Okay, so again, before moving to today's part, we'll have a short recap of what we learned in the previous lecture. Okay, so again coming to the animal classification, two types: non-chordata, chordata, non-chordata. Previous lecture we learned phylum Porifera. Why Porifera? They are pore bearers. Example cycon or common name sponges. Second phylum Cnidaria, or as I told, there's another name to it, Coelenterata. Example Hydra or jellyfish. Why I always use the second species in this particular phylum? Because there are two different class, we can say, where Hydra is a species which is always attached to the rock or substratum, whereas jellyfish is movable, sessile, keeps moving from one place to another. That's why two different class in the same phyla. Clear? Third one, Ctenophora. Now here, how you can remember, this is the smallest known phyla out of all the 10 non-chordates. Example, Pleurodrankia, or the common name comb jelly. Okay, and you can remember this one also very clearly. Reason, the species comb jelly which you saw, or Pleurodrankia, it glows, it has got bioluminescence. Okay, then fourth one, phylum Platyhelminthes. Example, tapeworm or other endoparasites which may cause harm to the body, right? Or liver fluke. Then fifth one, phylum Ascalminthus, ascal, round, minthis, worm. So they are round worms. Example, Ascaris. Okay, so these are the five which we learned in the previous part or the lecture. So today we'll continue the next five, that is phylum Annelida, example earthworm, phylum Arthropoda, example cockroach, phylum Mollusca, example octopus, phylum Echinodermata, example starfish, phylum Hemichordata, example Balanoglossus. Also, the later part where we learn about chordates, which we learn the remaining in the next lecture or the next part, is part 4, where we come across chordata, the three subphylum Urochordata, Cephalochordata, Vertebrata. Urochordata, example Herdmania, Cephalochordata, example Amphioxus, and Vertebrata, they further divided into two types, Agnathostomata and Gnathostomata. Again the term Agnatha, absence of jaws, stoma means mouth, in the mouth region. Example, lamprey, which comes under class cyclostomata. Again here cyclo means round, so the mouth is usually circular. Then the second division is gnathostomata. Gnatha means jaw, so mouth having jaw inside it. Or in simple words, as you see in higher animals like mammals, reptiles, the teeth is present, correct? Okay, now again this superclass Gnathostomata, they are divided into five. That is Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves and Mammalia. Pisces, which are further divided into two classes, that is Chondrichthyes and Ostrichthyes. Chondrichthyes, the easy way to remember, cartilaginous fish. Examples, Scoliodon or shark. Whereas Ostrichthyes, again easy way to remember, bony fish. Example, Rohu or Labio rohita. Whereas the second one, Amphibia, example frog or toad. Reptilia, example snake, turtle, tortoise, crocodile. All the species comes under reptilia. Aves, example ostrich or parrot, peacock, pigeon, all the birds. The fifth one, mammalia, example bat, the flying mammal. So now this right from class Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves and Mammalia, they come under Tetrapoda. The term tetra means four, poda means foot. So they are having four foot, or we can simple ways, appendages or the legs. Clear? Now we come to the sixth phylum and today's first phylum, that is phylum Annelida. As Annelida means presence of annuli or rings, segmented worms in other words. So we again here I put some interesting images. Earthworm, all of you have seen. Leech, which is a blood sucking. Other than that, fireworm, Christmas tree worm, feather duster worm, some similar species which are present in this. Then also I had given some more examples in phylum Annelida towards the right side, where you can say Aphrodite, class Polychaetae, where you can say Nereis. Also Hirudinea, which comes under class Hirudina, which is nothing but the leech. Then Pintobdella, which is class Archaeannelida. Okay, then you have got Oligochaetae, that is Peritima postuma, or we can say simple words, the earthworms. So here, just to give an idea, in phylum Annelida, the different class which are present, or just to remember the examples: earthworm, leech, Nereis, etc. Clear? Okay, so now we come to the phylum Annelida, where we go into the detailed characteristic of phylum Annelida, that is annulus or ring, presence of annuli or ring, which is a special feature in case of Annelida. So here we can see example: Nereis, Peritima, that is common name earthworm, Hirudinaria, that is leech. First point, they are commonly called ringworms or segmented worms, as you know, presence of ring or annuli. Second point, animals may be aquatic and few may be ectoparasite, means found outside the body, like leech, or free living or burrowing in moist soil. So this all of you know, that is earthworm, which usually is a burrowing type. Third point, they show bilateral symmetry with metameric segmentation. Now this bilateral symmetry is a characteristic which we learned in the first lecture, and as I told, we will be learning in all the phylums. So bilateral means it is body is equally divided into two half. Next, a special region of body called clitellum is present. Now, if you take the example of earthworm, now all of you seen earthworm, in the anterior end from the mouth, just little ahead, you can see thick brown band, which is nothing but clitellum. Next, locomotion is with the help of longitudinal and circular muscles. So this longitudinal and circular muscles help them to move forward and backward. Next, locomotory structure like setae in case of earthworm, parapodia in case of Nereis, or suckers in case of leech are present. Now when you say setae, now earthworm does not have any foot or appendages, but there are small hair-like structure on the skin which helps them to move along with the longitudinal circular muscles forward and backward. Whereas Nereis, you might have seen thin appendages, like it's not the actual appendage but a small foot like part on the either side which helps in their locomotion. In case of leech is the suckers, the anterior and posterior suckers. Anterior one helps to suck the body fluid, as the posterior one help itself to attach to the host organism. Clear? Further, alimentary canal is complete, or we can say that digestive system is complete from mouth till anus. Next, exchange of gases takes place through the body wall. So, through the body, what the exchange of gases takes place. Next, circulatory system of closed trap, that is, the blood moves within the vessels. Next, excretion and osmorelation is carried out with the help of nephridia. Now, nephridia, it is the organ which helps in removal of waste products, as excretion and osmoregulation to maintain the internal environment. Next, nervous system consists of nerve ring and ventral nerve cord. Now, when you go to higher phylums, as we move, we can see the nervous system well developed in the species as we go further. Similarly, they are hermaphrodites and dioecious. Before that, also one more term as we see, nerve cord is ventral, solid and ganglionated. Now what is mean of ganglionated? It is spread out. Okay, next point as I read, it is hermaphrodite. What is hermaphrodite? That is the male and female organ is present in the same species. That is testis and ovary are present in the same species. And few are dioecious. Now when you say dioecious, the species are different. There's male and female may be separate, but in case of earthworm, they are monoecious. That is, both the organs are present in the same species or same organism. Here there's a highlighted term. All animals from Annelida onwards are triploblastic coelomate with the organ system level of organization. That means we don't have to repeat this term. It is understood. All the species further from Annelida, they are triploblastic. Means they have got three layers: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. Whereas coelomate, true body cavity is present, and organ system level of organization means they have got the cells forming the tissue forming the organ system, and so on. Clear? Now, next we can see the examples what we learned. Nares, you can see the small appendages like part on the either side, which is not the true appendage, which is the parapodia. Leech, you can see it is sucking the body fluid. You can see the fluid after sucking, it is moving through the body, and the lower one, as you can see, many earthworms, which is actually, if you observe carefully, it is carrying out vermicompost or formation of vermicompost. Now we move to the next phylum, that is phylum Arthropoda, creatures of the jointed legs. As I explained earlier, arthro means joint, poda means foot. So joint, foot or appendages. You can see I put two images towards the left: spider, centipede, honeybee, butterfly and tick or lice. So these are some of the examples of arthropoda. As we know, arthropods are the biggest group of invertebrates. All the arthropods have an external skeleton that protects their body. They also have many legs. So, Arthropoda, the biggest among all the phylum, as most number of species are present in it. It can be useful as well as harmful, and they intermediately they remove their exoskeleton, so they that is which we call as ecdysis, which we learn in the characteristics. Also they got many legs. That is why I also showed the classification part. That is, in arthropoda there are four classes, as we can see: insects, arachnids, crustacean and myriapods. Now when you say insects, you know most of the insects, right from mosquito, flies, fleas, lice, ticks, mites, many are there, right? Bed bugs. So in case of insects, they got 6 legs or 3 pairs, whereas arachnids, that is spiders, they got 4 pairs or 8 legs. Crustaceans, they got 5 pairs or 10 legs, whereas myriapods, that is centipede and millipede, they got lot many eggs. Now, next we come to the characteristics or salient features of phylum Arthropoda. Arthro, joint, podas, legs. Example, as we saw: cockroach, butterfly, scorpion, millipede, prawn. Again in the next slide, as always, show the slide which the examples are given, and some more interesting species related to the phylum. Now, first point, this is the largest phylum of kingdom Animalia. As you know, there are most number of species present in this particular phylum. Next, these animals have joint appendages, hence the name Arthropoda. Next, these are omnipresent, means it is present everywhere, and solitary or colonial, means they may be found individually or they may be found in groups or a colony. Most of them are free living, that is, they are present everywhere, they are free living, but there's an example, that is barnacles, which is sedentary. They are attached at one particular place onto the rock or substratum. Next, the few are parasite and sanguivorous. Now when you say parasite, as you know, mosquito, bed bug being most common example at home. Sanguivorous means blood sucking. Now again blood sucking is bed bug. Okay. Next, the body is bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, eucoelomate, metamerically segmented with tube within tube body plan and organ system level of organization. Now these terms, now I think it will be more easier for you to understand, but again I'll just repeat it so make your understanding easier. Bilateral symmetry, body is equally divided. Triploblastic, three layers are present: ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. Eucoelomate, that is coelomic cavity which is present in the body. Metamerically segment, that is the body segmented with tube within tube body plan, that is mouth and anus are present, and organ system level organization, that is presence of different organs to carry out different functions. Clear? Next, body is covered by tough non-living chitinous exoskeleton, that is body covering. Hence they need periodic molding called ecdysis. Now this periodic molding means they change their skin. Now if you sometimes when you observe this skin, you may feel that the particular species might have dead, but actually it is the skin which is removed by periodic molding, which you term as ecdysis. Clear? Next, body is divided into head, thorax and abdomen. So three parts. Digestive system is complete. Circulatory system is of open type. Now in the previous one, Annelida, we learned the closed type. Here open type means the blood does not circulate inside the vessels, but at some point they come out. Blood flows through the body cavity, which is called as hemocoel. Respiratory organ, gills, trachea, book lungs, book gills. Now you can see there are many different respiratory organ reason, different species. As we saw earlier, the species may be in land, water, air. So accordingly, they got different organ. When you say gill, it is the prawn, lobsters, crabs, etc. In case of trachea, the insects, for example, cockroach. Now this term you can easily remember because trachea is a similar organ present in the human respiratory system, right? Then book lungs, book gills. Again, the other species present in the arthropoda, as we saw very many different species. Then excretion takes place by green glands, Malpighian tubule or coaxial glands. Again, depending on the species. Green glands, we can say the species which are present in water bodies. Malpighian tubule or coaxial glands in case of the insects, land species, etc. For example, if you take Malpighian tubule, it is an excretory organ in case of cockroach. Next, nervous system is formed by nerve ring and double ventral ganglionated nerve cord. Now again, like previous one, Annelida, here also they got nerve ring and double ventral ganglionated nerve cord. Now as I mentioned, if the cockroach, take the example of cockroach, which will be easier for to understand. If it is in the normal position, the upper part is the dorsal region and the lower part the ventral region. So in case of the nerve cord, which is usually at the lower end and upper end, where the dorsal region, the wings are present. In case of mammals or humans, we can say when you're in the standing position, or back part, which is the dorsal, and the lower abdominal region is the ventral part. So in the dorsal region, in case of vertebrates, mostly the nervous system, the backbone is present, whereas in case of invertebrates, it is in the ventral region. Next, sense organs are well developed in the form of antenna, simple or compound eyes with various receptors, which helps them to sense in the changes in the surrounding. Sexes are separate, showing sexual dimorphism. Fertilization is generally internal, development is direct or indirect by metamorphosis, that is egg, larva, pupa and the adult stage. And you say sexual dimorphism is male and females are separate. Next, in some arthropods like honeybees, bugs, etc., offsprings are produced by parthenogenesis. Now, what is parthenogenesis? It is formation of a species without undergoing fertilization or fusion. So this is actually, we learn this particular term in plants, but even in animals, even in certain species in the kingdom Animalia like honeybees, bugs, this parthenogenesis takes place. Next, some insects exhibit polymorphism. example honeybee, ants, termites, etc. Now if I say, as you know, poly, many, so morphism, different forms. So if you take honeybee, you can see the presence of queen bee, drone, workers, etc. Correct? Then next, some arthropods are economically important, such as apis, that is honeybee, which provides us honey and wax. So it is again economically important. If I just add one more point, like crabs, lobsters, which are edible ones, right? Now here we can see that other than honeybee, lac is produced by Lacifera lacca, that is lac insects. Lobster, prawns, crabs are edible. Silkworms produce silk, so even these are useful to us. Some arthropods are harmful, which acts as vector. This also all of you know, there is mosquito, which causes malaria. Locusta, locust, which is a gregarian pest, which usually spoils or cause damage to the crops. And then lastly, Limulus, the king crab, is known as living fossil. Clear? And you can see the image which I put of Limulus, king crab, the pest which is the locusta, and the cultivated lac insect species, how it looks and how the excretion which is used for making various articles. Okay, now you can see the examples. As I told, whatever examples is given, those images are specifically possible the GIF animation I put. So you can see the millipede, the scorpion species, cockroach, prawn, and then the butterfly species. Again, if you see the butterfly, which is not the normal butterfly, you can see eye spots, which actually confuses the predator. Okay. Then now we come to the next phylum, that is phylum Mollusca. Here also I put some very interesting images of phylum Mollusca, which we otherwise remember as the soft-bodied animals or learn as soft-bodied animals. Also we learn as presence of shells, because most of them has got shells, but it may be external, it can be internal, or in certain cases like octopus it may be absent. Or even if I give other example other than octopus, it is slug. Now again in the right side in the image there are three classes. Again it is for your understanding. I put the class also. There is gastropoda. You can see snail, the slug which does not have a shell as such, or pila we can say. So the species which comes under gastropoda. In bivalves, the shelled creatures which is present, cephalopods, the octopus or squids, etc., which comes under cephalopoda. So you can see the images, and accordingly these are present in the different class. Here we actually learn together, but getting the knowledge of class will be beneficial. Okay, now we come to the characteristic of phylum Mollusca, or the salient features. So mollusk means soft. So example here, pila, bivalve, octopus, which is also called as devilfish, sepia, cuttlefish, Chetoplura, chitin, pink dada, pearl oyster, loligo, squid, Aplysia, sea hare, Dentalium, tusk shell. So all these example images are there in the next slide, which we will observe later. So we can go through the characteristic. This is second largest phylum, means after Arthropoda, most number of species are found in this phylum. Mollusca are either free living or sedentary, means here the species are there which move from one place to another, or some they remain attached to the substratum or remain in one place. They are aquatic or seen in marshy places. So most of them are aquatic species. Few are terrestrial. Some of them, for example, you might have seen the snail, right? These are soft bodied and show tube within tube body plan. So body is soft, that's why they are called as the mollusca, and they got tube within tube body plan. Next, they have bilateral symmetry, but if few are asymmetrical due to torsion. So most of the species are bilateral, but some species, specifically the shelled ones, we can see there's a twisted or torsion, because of which they become asymmetrical. Body is divisible into head, foot and visceral mass. Visceral mass is enclosed in thick muscular fold of the body wall called as mantle. So this visceral mass, which is enclosed in thick muscular fold, that's why that particular part is called as what? Mantle. Mantle secretes a hard calcareous shell. The shell may be external, internal or absent. That is why when the young ones are formed, now these young ones does not have shell, but as they start to grow from the mantle, the secretion takes place which forms the shell, which may be external or internal, or in very few cases it may be absent, like the octopus. Then muscular foot is present on ventral side. Digestive system is well developed, complete with anterior mouth and posterior anus. As you know, mouth is usually in the anterior end, posterior end the anus. Buccal cavity has rasping organ called radula, which is provided with transverse row of teeth. Aquatic forms show numerous feather-like gills called ctenidia, useful for aquatic respiration. So in case of aquatic form, that is most of them as is present in water, they got feather-like gills, which you will see the images to can understand what is that called as or looks like, which is called as ctenidia. Then gills are present in the mantle cavity. The mantle, which is the mantle cavity? The space between visceral mass and the mantle. Terrestrial forms may show presence of lungs. So those species which are present on land, like snail, so they have lungs. Circulatory system is of open type. Example, sepia, which possesses closed type. So again here there is an exception. Most of them are having open type, but in case of sepia, it is closed type. Next, blood contains a copper containing blue respiratory pigment called hemocyanin. So here the blood which appears bluish in color because presence of copper. As we know, copper which is usually bluish in color. Next, excretion occurs by kidney, also called as organ of Bürgerness. So here the excretory organ is called as what? Organ of Bürgerness. Nervous system is formed by three pairs of ganglia. So moving on to the next slide, here few more points to add. Ganglia are interconnected by commissure and connectives. Sense organs such as eye for vision, tentacle for tactile sensation, Osparidia for testing the purity of water are present. Means if there is a change in water, so that can be known by the presence of Osparidia. Sexes are separate, means male and female are separate. Animals are mostly oviparous. Oviparous means egg laying. Development may be direct or indirect. Again, there's a economic importance. Pearl oyster gives precious pearls. Many mollusks are edible. Shells of mollusks are rich source of calcium. So from pearl oyster we get pearl, and other mollusca are also edible or consumed as food, which are rich in calcium. So here you can see the animation of a pearl oyster. Next we can see the different images example which we just read along with the salient features. The first one, pila. Next, bivalve. Then octopus. Again you will see here it is called as a mimic octopus, not the normal one. Mimic, as it mimics the surrounding. Now the color, see the color changing quickly like the background, or as we use the term camouflaging. Sea hare, see another unique and amazing species. Chitin, and then sepia or the cuttlefish. There are a few more examples which we learn in the next slide. Okay, so here we can see squid. Now see carefully, the squid, you can see small bubble or daughter structures. Actually these are the eggs. So these squids at a time they lay thousands of eggs. So I got a very good image showing the squid laying thousands of eggs at a time. And towards the right you can see pearl oyster with many pearls which are actually cultivated artificially actually. Then the tusk shell, which you can see lower, which is like long pointed. Okay. Now coming to the next phylum Echinodermata. Why Echino? Echino means rough, derma means skin, rough body. So again you can see the images with the appearance also, only you can say the body outer part is rough. So you can see different images: sea star, brittle star, sea urchin, sea cucumber and sand dollar. By the dollar, as you can see, circular image of a starfish, or that's why it's termed as sand dollar. And then on to the right you can see again image with the class. So in all the phylums I am also trying to put up the class, which will help you to understand the different species in different class in the phylum Echinodermata or the individual phylum. So here you can see sea cucumber coming under class Holothuriidae, sea star class Asteroideae, or as we learn asters, feather stars class Crinoideae, brittle star class Operoideae, sea urchin class Echinoideae. Clear? Again, it's just for information where I have put the class along with the phylum. Next. Okay. Now we can see the characteristic or salient features of phylum Echinodermata. Echinus spines, or that is why it is rough, derma skin. Example: Asteria, sea star, Cucumeria, sea cucumber, Echinus, sea urchin, the one which you saw in the beginning slide, Antedon, sea lily, another very beautiful species, Ophiothrix, brittle star. Now coming to the points, now again all these examples you can see in the next slide. Okay, these are exclusively marine, so mostly they are found in salt water, solitary, sedentary or free living, and gregarious benthic means they may be found individually, they may be attached to a substratum, or they may be moving from one place to another. Gregarious benthic means some may be found deep in the water, some may be in the shallow or surface of the water. These are radially symmetrical with pentamerous symmetry. When you say radial symmetry, as you know, from the center of the axis it is equally divided along the radiating arms. So why pentamerous? 5 arms are present. Body may be spherical, circular like the sand dollar which we saw, elongated, long like sea cucumber, or star shaped like brittle star, right? Then endoskeleton is made up of calcareous ossicles, that is made up of calcium. Spines are present on the body, hence the name Echinodermata. The body is without definite body divisions. Instead, there are two sides, oral and aboral. So if you see the starfish, there are two surfaces, oral and aboral, the upper and the lower part. The peculiar character is presence of water vascular system in which water enters through madreporite. Now this water vascular system helps in the locomotion, movement, etc., which you can see in the next point. This system is used for locomotion, food capturing and respiration. Digestive system is complete. Mouth is ventrally present on the oral surface and anus on the aboral surface. Respiration is performed by peristomial gills, papillae, respiratory tree. Circulatory system and excretory system is absent in this case. Nervous system is simple with a nerve ring around the mouth and radial nerves in the arms. Sexes are separate, that is both male and female are separate. In few cases it may be bisexual. Fertilization is external, development is indirect. They show high power of regeneration. Now that's why I put an image of starfish. One arm is broken accidentally or by attack of the predator, but it grows again, and if you see the length it is quite bigger. So it has got high power of regeneration. Now we can see the images. Feather stars, see how beautiful the image looks and the species look. Sea star, again I put a unique image. You are seeing starfish, but here it is a sunflower sea star because of the appearance. Okay, then you can see sea cucumber, brittle star. The name brittle means the arms are very soft and delicate, brittle, so they break very often, but they again regrow. And then lastly, sea urchin. Here if you see carefully, you can see the small opening of the mouth, opening and closing of the mouth. Okay. Now coming to the last phylum, which is phylum Hemichordata, which is a connecting link between chordate and non-chordate. So you can see the species Balanoglossus, their part proboscis, collar, branchiogenital region, genital region, hepatic region, anus. And over here we can see the different species also in that which is present, but we learn only one or two like Balanoglossus or Saccoglossus. And one more thing, see this two class I mentioned over here, Hemichordata having 85 species, class Pterobranchia, sea angels. That is the one which I put in the first slide showing the angel-like species. So that comes under this Hemichordata and class Pterobranchia. Then class Enterobnista, there's acorn worm, again which you saw the moving image in the beginning, and later you can see the similar image. The small group of marine worms that show similarities to echinoderms and chordate. Okay, so we come to the salient features or the characteristics. Phylum Hemichordata, the term hemi means half, chordata, the rod-like part, or as we say, the backbone. So here, example, Balanoglossus, Saccoglossus. First point, earlier, this phylum was considered as subphylum of Chordata because buccal graviculum was considered as notochord. That is why it is called as Hemichordata, partially chordate, partially non-chordate. But now it is placed as a separate phylum of non-chordata. These are exclusively marine animals, usually living at the bottom of sea in burrows. Mostly these are free living, but the animals like Rhabdopleura is sedentary, means does not move, attached to one part of the substratum. Body is soft, vermiform, worm-like, unsegmented, no segmentation, and divided into three parts: proboscis, collar, and trunk, which you saw in the previous slide, the image part. Buccal cavity gives rise to rod-like buccal diverticulum, which is considered as notochord by some scientists. Alimentary canal is complete, straight or U-shaped. Respiration occurs by numerous gills arranged in two longitudinal rows present in the pharyngeal region. Gills open by gill slit. Circulatory system is simple and open type. Excretion occurs with the help of glomerulus. Nervous tissue is embedded in epidermis or on dorsal and ventral side. Sexes are separate, that is male female are separate. Sometimes can be a bisexual one. Fertilization is external and development is indirect through free swimming larvae. This phylum is the connecting link between non-chordata and chordata. That's why it is the last phylum, we can say, or beginning of the next phylum or chordata. Now, coming to the images part, you can see acorn worm, Saccoglossus, the examples of Balanoglossus, Saccoglossus, and one of the animation image of the acorn worm. Okay, so that is the last part. Now I have put some amazing unique species which comes under these phylum. So to create more interest and awareness about the species present underwater, right? We can see a octopus which is called as Dumbo octopus. We can see the appearance, right? Then vampire squid. Squid, the species was there, but you can see here it's looking very dangerous. That's why called as vampire squid. And one of the species called as a deep sea worm. See how beautiful it's looking, how the locomotion movement is there. And then bobbit worm. The worm is cylindrical part, but see how it catches a huge fish and gulps it down, right? Then lastly the questions based on this particular part. Okay, so thank you all of you.